Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Matwychuk, and the purpose of today's intermittent reinforcement email message is to speak to you about what I call healthy unhappiness. Yes, I think there's a distinction between a form of unhappiness that's healthy, with its roots in flexible and non extreme thinking, and what I would refer to as unhealthy unhappiness, which is a form of unhappiness that has its roots in rigid and extreme attitudes. REBT is unique insofar as it makes a distinction between healthy negative feelings that in life, when we suffer certain existential challenges or deprivations and losses or burdens, that we're going to be unhappy. We're going to have states of unhealthy or healthy negative emotion, and we could choose which of the two we're going to experience in the face of these existential challenges. We argue in REBT that humans have this capacity and can cultivate it to transform their unhealthy states of emotion or unhealthy unhappiness into healthy happiness. Healthy unhappiness. In other words, we can have healthy states of negative emotion. And what REBT does is teach you how to do this. But the point I'm making is that not only do we teach you how to do it, but it has to be done on a regular basis. People brush their teeth regularly. They nourish themselves regularly. They may exercise regularly. Well, restoring our healthy negative emotions, which will then motivate us to change what we can change, has to be done on a regular basis because humans easily lapse into states of unhealthy unhappiness or unhealthy negative emotions. We easily slip back into states of misery when we could have a healthy state of disappointment or a healthy state of sadness. And we'll make some progress in changing our attitude towards certain losses or failures or burdens, but then we sometimes go back. This is our nature, just as though we get into shape and then we lose our cardiovascular fitness, or we brush our teeth, but then we need to do them once again the following morning. It seems as if we live in a world of flux where we have to restore our well-being on a regular basis. And the thing I've noticed is that there may be some issues that we experience where it's harder for us to get into a healthy negative mindset, a healthy negative emotional state, or a healthy experience, what I would call a healthy unhappiness, that acknowledges that we're not getting what we want, but frees us to change what we can change and then to live as well as we can with what we can. There may be some issues in our personal life that make it harder for us to get into that state of healthy unhappiness, and we have to work at it harder. And so the main point of today's intermittent reinforcement, is to encourage you to stay the course, to even in those issues that are the most challenging in your life, that are the most painful and lead to the greatest degree of emotional suffering, that if you work at them, one, you can make some headway and experience healthy negative emotions, or what I would call healthy unhappiness. And then when that slips away, because it will, don't be discouraged and don't devalue yourself and put yourself down or make it the assumption you can't get into a healthy emotional state. You just have to work at it a little harder with some issues in life. Some losses are harder for you to accept. Some failures are harder for you to accept, and it's much easier for you to return to a state where you say, well, this loss must not happen, or I must not have this deprivation. And so there's some things in our hierarchy of goals and values that are easier for us to accept. And when we go up the ladder of our wishes and wants and we don't get what we wish and we want, it's harder for us to say, well, I want that. I really want that person's approval, but I don't have to have it. Or I want this victory, but I don't have to have it. It's much easier for us to say, I want that person's approval, or I want this victory, and I have to have it. And even when we give up the idea that we have to have our wishes fulfilled, it's easy for us to go back to that idea. And so I would encourage you to continually, on a day-to-day basis, monitor your emotions. And when you're in a state of negative emotion, try to figure out, think about your thinking, and see whether or not you are in a state of unhealthy or healthy negative emotion. And if you are experiencing an unhealthy state of unhappiness, for you to challenge, dispute the rigid attitudes that underpin your unhealthy unhappiness. There are three of them. Generally, I must do well. Other people have to give me what I want, have to give me the approval, love, reinforcement, support, whatever it is that I think they should give me, other people must give it to me, or life has to be the way I want it to be. These three attitudes lie at the core of emotional disturbance. And we want you to dial them back into healthy preferences. I want what I want, but I never have to get it. And then return to that philosophical stance when it slips through your hands. REBT works, but it's a never-ending struggle. And that's the point of today's intermittent reinforcement email message. And I would like to conclude today's video by reminding you that every Saturday I talk to a volunteer about these very ideas. It's on Zoom. It's free to attend. You could write to me at rebtdoctor@gmail.com and get your link to watch my work with a volunteer. It's at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm in Philadelphia, and that's 2 p.m. in the UK, 4 p.m. in Bucharest, 6:30 in New Delhi, and 10 p.m. in Tokyo. I have a worldwide audience, and so it's a great opportunity to see how REBT applies to problems from various cultures. I hope you can join me, and you're welcome to volunteer, or you're welcome just to watch, observe, and then at the end ask any questions you may have about the rationale for my interventions. Again, it's at 9 a.m. Eastern in Philadelphia, 2 p.m. in the UK, 6:30 in New Delhi, 10 p.m. in Tokyo. Write to me at rebtdoctor@gmail.com. I hope to see you on Saturday.